Hello guys, welcome back to another video. To quickly start to recap here, we're now discussing if the top is in here at 70,000 and we're now close to form a bottom here before we continue the final fifth wave, or has this been the top here and we're now entering a full-blown bear market, just as we saw the same exact pattern in 2021, predicted the top. Back in 2027, bull market, the exact pattern as well, predicted the top. So let's jump right into the video. We can see here, if we zoom in here on the shorter time frame, on the daily time frame here, we have discussed about this pitchfork. So we took it from the record highs here we had back in March from 74,000 all the way down here to the lows and to recent highs. So we're using this original pitchfork. Previously we're using the modified shift, which we got a bounce from. Then we broke through it, so we switched to the original. We failed to get a daily close above. We're very close, but the daily close was actually below. So I said I will stay sideways until we get a weekly close, and that's exactly what we got here yesterday. So the weekly close got right above the median line here. Right now it looks like we are getting some kind of action here to the upside. So if we come here on the daily, the trend ever since we got the weekly close, we can see here price has been trending to the upside. So I do think it's very likely we can see some trend continuation. Something I said previously, we have gotten quite an impulsive move here to the downside. So even though the bottom might not be in, I still believe we're due to see some kind of relief rally, especially if we look out on Ethereum as well. So Ethereum had the similar pattern here from the record highs to recent lows to the recent highs. We can see here Ethereum had the similar pattern here. We got a small bounce here, but overall the volatility has been quite down. The most important I would say right now is what the stock market is going to do here. We can see here similarly the stock market has been correlating a lot here with Bitcoin lately. The stock market had a pullback here last week. We can see Bitcoin followed the similar pullback here. Then we also had this crazy idea, which we've been talking about, is that the stock market here on the weekly time frame still has a final fifth leg to continue here to hit this pitchfork here, which goes all the way back to 1974. So this is quite a radical idea of mine, but I still don't see a recession happening. I see a lot of people calling for much lower on the stock market, and I have actually this Friday when we had the dump in Bitcoin, I see the most people have been calling for 30 and 20k I've ever seen before, and the comments on my videos as well have been calling for lower prices. I don't see that the stock market's leg is due. I still do believe we have a final massive blow off top to happen to hit this median line for algorithms to sell before then we enter a full-on recession. And I still do believe that's going to be the same faith for Bitcoin as well, since they're heavily correlated, as we can see. So I still do believe we're close on making a bottom here, as we have on this pitchfork. So we've been taking here from the second wave up to the third wave. We can see here, as we mentioned, the 0.31 is most likely going to be a support, and that's exactly where price bottomed. So we can see here we had once before the 0.31 acted as support, and once again on Friday when price came exactly down here to 52,300 or 52,481, we can see how price bounced there from once again. So as long as price can stay above this 0.31, we have had this idea that this is only fourth wave price action, which is very typical to see this sideways movement. So for now, the Elliott wave count is still in play. We're still in this chop mode here, typical fourth wave price action, and we're still expecting one final fifth wave here to take us to around 100,000, depending when we reach this midline, maybe 90,000, 100,000, 110,000. Before then, we're going to enter a big bear market. Another idea that I actually think is very possible as well is if we move this Fibonacci here from the first wave here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we come down here to this 45,000 area. So technically algorithms will be looking at this 0.31 if you drag it from the first wave here. So this could be very normal for us to come down here, test the 0.31, get a quick wick. I really like the confluence here with a very nice demand zone. So here personally I would love to start buying here if we get one more push to the downside. So this would be the ideal scenario for me. Before then we'll continue the fifth wave. We also have to remember that the halving has just happened, as I'm covering in the previous videos. So even though the previously we've gotten the tops here on these median lines, as I've covered in the beginning of the video, this time would be different in my opinion, since we just had the halving. That's why I don't believe we're going to enter a full-on bear market and going to 20k. And I get a lot of comments, people saying, see you at 20k, we're going to 30k. And be my guest, if you believe we're going to do that, then you are welcome to open a short and watch the profits come in. But personally, I don't see us going to 20k or even 30k. I do think 45k is possible, but we still have our this post-halving rally to come. So we can see we're just in the beginning here, and this is very normal that we see this chop doing. Also, if we check here, we can compare to the previous cycles, to the cycles in 2017 and 2021, as we're looking at in the previous videos. We can see if we compare it since the lows, the bear market lows, we're right on track here. So this Bitcoin is used to do this very sideways chop before then we get a bear market. The only thing that was different here, we can see here on the black line, is how we actually made a new all-time high before the halving, while the other cycles we had more chop and more downside hit. But right now, if we compare, we're right on track here before we're gonna get a rally. So in my opinion, look at this price action, there's no need to panic. If we just zoom out here, we basically have done from the bear market lows, Bitcoin has done 370, almost 400% gain. And right now, from the absolute highs, we're sitting now at 25% down correction. So 25% is not a lot if we compare to this whole rally we had to the upside. I see a lot of people are starting to panic here, how we're gonna crash, how we're going to 20k. But for us to go to 20k, it doesn't make sense to me. We're still just after the halving, and just after the halving, I don't see us crashing another 70%. But as I said, 45,000 here is possible. This is one possible scenario. The second possible scenario is that we just have bottomed. So if we apply this pitchfork here again. So the second scenario is that we just have bottomed here on this median line. And right now we're waiting for some kind of push to the upside. Something that I'm not loving here is how we have 3 daily candles here in a row. So I do expect to have we could have some kind of correction here, come back to the median line before then we go higher. If we zoom in here on the 4 hour, something to keep in mind is this Fibonacci levels. So previously, if we take from the highs, we took to these lows, we predicted this stop here. We said most likely we're gonna reject from here, which we did. If we pull once again, we can see we got a second rejection from the 0.31. Right now, if you pull to these lows, we can see price have come very close to the 0.31, and I do still think we're gonna reach this area here at 56,000, and it's very likely gonna act as resistance. But I do think this is gonna be the time that we break the 0.31 Fibonacci, because as I mentioned before, the price cannot continue to reject from the 0.31 fib. At some point, price likes to break. Since we've gotten previously 2 rejections, I do believe the third one is gonna price is gonna get a close above it, and most likely we're gonna rally. But yet we have to be to pay attention here, since price has just had 3 daily candles in a row green. So I wouldn't be surprised we do something like this, come down to 53 for 54k. Here I'll be interested to open a long and then to ride it to the upside, pull some profit here when we get the first touch of the 0.31, but then keep holding the long position to the upside. So that's what I'm looking at right now. Lastly, I wanted to cover this Ethereum weekly chart, as we've been talking about from the highs here to the lows to the recent highs. We had previously, a few weeks ago, a bounce from this median line. Right now, price came down and tested this median line once again. So we can see 2 times we had a massive bounce from this median line. So if the bottom is in right now for Ethereum, it's going to be now. If we break lower, then we can check if we go on the logarithmic scale, we would have a much lower target at 1,600 on Ethereum. But for right now, it's a make or break area. So if Ethereum has bottomed, it is right here and will then continue higher. We don't want to see Ethereum go lower than this. We can also check the volume here. Last time we hit this median line, the volume was quite big, which I really like. It's typical bottoming pattern. But now time will tell if we can hold this area again, or if we break below, and we're likely going to see much lower prices for Ethereum. But so far, so good. Right now we have bounced nicely here, and I do expect to get at least a relief rally both on the Ethereum chart and on the Bitcoin chart here. So in my opinion, the play is to the long side at the moment, but of course you want to look for these resistance levels. So we have basically caught every move both to the upside and downside, and we're going to continue to do so to the best of our abilities. If you enjoy the daily updates, make sure to like the video, and I'll see you again guys tomorrow.